Hi, my name is Barbara Fernandez, and I have been involved in developing apps for nearly 3 years. 4 years. It's been over 4 years now. And I know that searching on the App Store for apps for speech therapy can be very frustrating. There are so many apps out there. Sorting through them, trying to identify which apps are the real deal can be nearly impossible. On today's video, I want to show you 6 very different apps that are used for targeting speech. Each one has a different purpose, and while one can be very beneficial to one SLP in California, another one may be used to someone in Texas, and someone may have such diverse caseload that they may need them all. So let's take a look at the first one, the Sunny Articulation and Phonology Test. This is something I created over 3 years ago. It's compatible with both the iPad and the iPhone, and it has the purpose of a qualitative assessment for articulation phonology skills. I have already added here one of my students that I'm going to be doing a screening. I'm going to start a new test and select a full evaluation. Here we have our target image, snake, and let's say that the student said snake, so he made a mistake on the final consonant of this word. So I'm going to tap on it. Then I'm going to say it was a deletion. What we are telling the iPad is that this student did not produce the final consonant K correctly, and that was a deletion of final consonant. I'll go to the next. And here we have the word bicycle. And let's say the student said tricycle. So I'm going to tap on the B, and that was a substitution for a T. So he said tricycle in place of B. So the app also allows me to do a voice recording of the child's production and take notes as I go.
You did it!
I always allow the student to tap on the next after they produce the word. And to me, that has proven to be enough encouragement for the child to continue name the target item. So again, let's say he said orc for fork, and there was another deletion. And I'm going to speed up the process.
You did it!
And just randomly pick
Well done.
Some errors here so you guys can actually take a look at what
Way to go!
the application will do for you.
Terrific!
Before moving on, actually I'm going to turn off the transition sound and then continue on. Marking errors also allows you to take a look at the target images. These errors are being picked randomly, so I'm not expecting the data to be even close to what a typical child demonstrating articulation of phonological errors to demonstrate. But I just want to show you guys the kind of qualitative information that this application provides you immediately after the assessment. I'm going to now pick some errors here, just go through them quickly. We have here some clusters. And we tap on the result. Let's take a look at the data. Immediately after the assessment, we have here initial position 46%. So we know that the student is having difficulty in the initial position. By manner, we have the fricatives, liquids, plosives, nasals, affricates, and the clusters is also showing some difficulty here. Now we should go to voicing, the specific words, the place of articulation, and the errors. If I tap here to email the results, the application automatically compiles a report with all the information about the child's speech production. So the Sunny Articulation and Phonology Test can be used as a screener or as in a supplemental assessment. Some schools that don't require the use of standard scores are also using this application as their source of collecting data for articulation and phonology skills in the child. Now let's move on to the next application. So the second application we're going to be taking a look at right now is called Articulated, and that's the application you will need once you're done screening or assessing that child. Let's go ahead and select our player. You can see here I have 4 players. This application can be used with up to 5 players in a group. So if you're a speech pathologist, you're most likely doing group sessions. I selected 4 students here. I'm going to tap on Start Session. And as you can see here, Jim, it's his turn, and he will be working on S in the initial position. And as you can see here, these are all the words that are within articulated. If you're not working on multisyllabic words yet, you can deselect those words and tap Done. Now we can see that we have John, and he will have his own goal. So we're going to select a phonological process. Let's make him work on fronting his word list, and we tap Done. Our 4th student, Tanya, we're going to select her, and she is working on glides. Done in the initial position. Done. And Tommy. Tommy's working on a variety of different sounds. What we can do is repeat previous items to avoid having to select all the items again. Articulated already knows that you're working on these things. If I tap repeat previous items, it's just going to go back and show and select the same words that I have previously selected for Tommy. And here we have, this is our activity. We have our target word. If I tap on it, it's going to speak it out loud.
7.
You can see here is Jim's avatar, and it's his turn. S, initial, and he said it correctly. Now it's John's turn. He was working on fronting, I believe. K in the middle position.
Cookie.
He said it correctly. Now it's Tanya's turn, and she's working at a phrase level.
The baby likes yogurt.
So she's not producing it correctly, so we'll mark it wrong. And as you can see, the children are taking turns on the application, working on their own articulation goals.
I am feeling sad today.
Also, you can rotate the screen, so if you're on the table, the children can see the image facing them without having to pass around the iPad. You can also do a voice recording and change the settings here to fit your needs. I'm just going to do a run trial here so you can take a look at the images that we utilize on Articulated. And also to collect some data. Let's take a look at what kind of data the app is providing. Take a look at Jim. Jim was working on S at the word and phrase level. At the word, he was 67% accurate. At the phrase level, 100%. If we did any recordings, the recordings are all being saved. We can take a look at the words that he worked on and also the percentage of every time we've worked together. So as I scroll down, they show all the previous sessions. These sessions you can actually share. You can export to the Therapy Report Center, and that's a free app that helps you to keep all the data from all your Smart Ears apps together in one place. If we tap on email, let's take a look at the nice results that we get. This is a table that can be emailed to the parent quite often. You can send this to the parents, or you can keep it for your records, which I highly recommend. I'm going to take a look at some other students' results. So that is Articulated, as you can see, very different from the Sunny Articulation and Phonology test. And now let's take a look at our third application. I'm going to open articulation scenes. And articulation scenes targets working on the phonemes based on scenes. As you can see, there is a movie theater theme. And I'm going to pick, for example, a P. And as you can see, we have here a scene for initial, a scene for medial, and a scene and two scenes for final. I'm going to open here the medial P. As you can see, there are 4 different activities: find the hidden items, tap and say it, the movie theater, and the production room. The application goes from auditory bombardment activities to word level, all the way to reading and narrative. Let's take a look at the level 1.
Welcome! You have been assigned an important task to find all the images in the scene that contains the targeted sound.
Okay, so I'm going to skip that and to show you that what we are doing here is allowing the student to find the target words. As you can see, all the words here have P in the medial position, so we're looking out for apple,
Apple.
paper,
Paper.
and as they find the item, they get points.
Shampoo. Grumpy. Puppet. Happy. Slipper. People. Mopping. Open. Hippo. Zipper. Pepper. Purple. Bumpy. Diaper. Puppy.
And I am missing
Teapot.
just 2 more. I don't think I can find them, but oh, there it is.
Dropper.
And
Hamper.
there we go. So the student collected the award for finding all the medial keys. We can place it on the trophy case, and there it is, our medial key. Now I'm going to take a look at the activity number 2. I'm going to show you a different sound. M.
Welcome to the Level 2 activity.
So here is your typical flashcard.
Meat. Map.
And here's where you mark if the student got it correctly or incorrectly. There is an area for voice recording for recording the voice of the student.
Man.
We can always go back to the scene and then
Milk.
try to find the items that we get isolated. Now I'm going to show you the activity number 3. And this is the movie theater where we have a story.
Dr. Hector had a talk with Santa Claus. Santa, you need to start dieting, said the doctor. You eat too many tater tots, fruit cakes, and tortilla chips. You need to eat more fruits and vegetables.
I'm going to exit this and show you level 4.
Welcome to the production area on
There are 2 ways
articulation
of working on
scenes.
level
There are
4.
two-
Is option 1, you can let the student be creative and create his own story. So he gets the same scenes. He taps here to do his voice recording, retelling the story, or creating his own story using the target words. The other possibility is for us, for the older students who want to work on reading and also work on producing a target sound in reading, is they go to the teleprompter, they read the same story, and they record it with their voice. All these recordings are being saved on the application. Also, it comes with a built-in homework. As you can see here, there's a homework sheet that you can just share with your parents or send it home with the student. We're going to just show you the R because we have here medial final R, we have pre-vocalic R scenes, R bland, and all the different vocalic R scenes. Before I let you go from showing you articulation scenes, I wanted to show you that all the data is also being collected here with a progress report showing the progress of the student on producing the target sounds. Are you guys ready for the next step? I am. I'm opening now Minimal Pairs Academy. Let's enter the Minimal Pairs Academy. I don't have any players here, so I'm going to go ahead and import my players from the Therapy Report Center. I'm going to select all my students, tap on Export, open them in Minimal Pairs Academy. If I go back and enter Minimal Pairs Academy, Therapy Report Center automatically entered my students. But what I'm going to do now is double click one of my students to select their goal. So this student should be working on all cluster reductions, L, R, and S. She's going to be working on an auditory bombardment activity. Tap Done. Now the second student will be working on deaffrication with an auditory discrimination activity. My third student is going to be working on deletion of final K's and G's and gliding L at the production level. And my fourth student will be working on pre-vocalic voicing, or let's say initial consonant deletion with the phrase completion activity. And now with my group, I'm ready to select all 4 students and get started.
Flunk.
So now I have my target word that I just heard is flunk.
Blonde. Clap. Fled. Glow. Clip.
And that was my auditory bombardment activity for cluster reduction L. I'm going to go to the next student.
Chop.
And he is working on auditory discrimination of deaffrication.
Chop.
I tap to listen.
Shop. Chop. Shop. Chop.
Now our third student is working on production of cluster reduction. As we know, production, we want the student to say the target word,
Slide.
which is slide. If he does say the word appropriately, we mark got it and we move on. There is no need to show him the pair if he's already producing it correctly. However,
Side.
so instead of saying slide, he said
Side.
side, then we show him, no, this is side and this is slide. Here is our phrase completion activity. The surface is
Flat.
flat or
Fat.
fat.
Flat. Blood. Clod. Clod. Flew. Flew. Flock. Plane. Blow.
So instead of
Cheat.
continuing on, I'm going to go terminate this session just so I can
Cheat.
show you guys the data that is provided on Minimal Pairs Academy. You can see here today's date. The process targeted was cluster reduction L. Correct without cues. It's not applicable. Then we have the total duration of the session. The number of participants, 4. And the overall accuracy was not applicable because this was an auditory bombardment activity. If I tap on my second player, I can show that was all of the production was correct. We also see in the statistics the age of the child, the total number of sessions, the date of the first session, processes worked on, processes mastered, and so on and so forth. So this was Minimal Pairs Academy. and let's move on to our, I believe, fifth and second to the last application. Our fifth application is an application for apraxia of speech. So very different from all the previous apps, and as you can see, all the apps that I've been showing you are very different. Let's go ahead and select the players. I'm going to select 2 players for now. Before I move on, I'm going to modify the word pool. You can see here we have the target words that are within the application, both by consonant vowel syllable structure and vowel consonant, and also CVC syllable structure. You can select and deselect a specific one, and you can also add your own custom words. I'm going to go ahead and pick here a word just as an example. Type in a random word, do a voice recording, then we pick where we want it to go, tap which sound it's applying it to, if it's a vowel or consonant, and then we add. All said and done, you can add custom words to Apraxiaville. I'm going to tap done here and close. Let's get started. I'm going to show you just briefly this application. There's a sound window where we can see the animation for both consonants and vowels. It's also possible if you are using an iPad 3 and up to use the camera so the student can see themselves within the window. Second up, we have the farmhouse, and this is where we're going to be working at the word level. I'm going to pick here for the student a level 1 CVVC for short E and long E production. Now for my second player or my second student, level 2 of CVC syllable structure, and working on, as you can see here, this application offers the 10 vowels, short and long, A through U. And then you have your diphthongs here. I'm going to select just a variety of different sounds here and tap next. You can see here it's Jack's turn, and
C, end, T, elf, egg, east.
Working on long and short E.
Me.
At CV, consonant vowel syllable structure. As he's producing it correctly, we tap here. If now we want Tom to take his turn, we just tap on him, and he will take his turn.
Chick, Jeep.
You can also do a voice recording here, or go back to the animation area. I'm going to tap done. Then I will show you the last activity within Apraxiaville, which is the words farm. We have an option of the words per screen, 2 or 3. I'm going to show you 3. You can see it's combining 3 words, pay, pay, pay.
Pay, pay, pay.
But what I can do is scroll this one up and change slightly the production.
Pay, pie, pay.
Or I can pick a whole different phoneme altogether.
B, pie, pay.
Or a different syllable structure.
B, pie, pass.
And here's where we track our accuracy, and we go on to the next student. So that was Apraxiaville. Whoa, before I let you go, let me show you that it also comes with homework. We pick here our homework area. I'm going to pick long U, CVC, and open. And here is your homework sheet that you can share and print. Send home. All done and very useful to speech pathologists. Let's go on to our final app, which is our intensive. All right, here we are, our intensive. Our intensive comes with all the perks of an SmartEars app, which is compatible with TRC, data tracking, and so on and so forth. Since I didn't have any students there, I'm just going to export 3 students to our intensive and quickly have the application ready to go. Here I have my 3 students. I'm going to select them and get started. First activity is the flashcards activity, where we have the R's all broken down into the different vocalic R's, the pre-vocalic R, cluster R's. I'm just going to leave this type of R for her and get started. Then our second student is going to work on pre-vocalic, and our third student on clusters. And as you can see, here we have the target word.
Tear.
Tear. Then at the word, phrase.
The paper has a tear.
And
After
sentence
you tear
level.
the white paper, you can see the red wall.
We mark here if it was correct, incorrect.
The paper has a tear. Tear.
Then we go to our second student. Word,
It's on the right.
phrase,
He
and
waved to his
sentence
friend
level.
with his...
Our third student. And they all go back and forth, taking their turns
The air pollution is air
to
pollution.
produce their target word. Just going to show you guys some of the images utilized on our intensive and tap down so you can take a look at the results. Oh, let's go back there. Here we are. And as you can see, there's a graph and also a table format showing you correct, almost, and missed for word, phrase, and sentence level. Let me show you the second student and the third student. This application has more than one activity. I'm going to show you the second activity, which is a matching game.
Rancher. Apparel. Submarine. Journal. Rancher.
Oh,
Apparel. Rancher. Rancher.
there we go. I got it.
Earlobe. Barrel. Starling. Apparel. Elderly. Squirrel. Dollar. Apparel. Dollar. Dollar.
I'm not very good at this, but I'm sure
Starling.
that our kids
Squirrel.
are better at this than we
Journal.
are.
Squirrel. Squirrel. Apparel. Apparel. Journal. Submarine. Journal. Journal. Elderly. Earlobe. Submarine. Submarine.
And I'm
Earlobe.
almost done, believe it or
Barrel.
not. But I'm not going to finish. What I'm going to do is show you guys the third activity. This is a guess what activity where we get the
What
question
grayish-brown animal has a fox-like face with a black mask?
and we get the child to try to guess.
Raccoon.
So instead of your typical flashcard, the student is actually getting a question, which is also helping him with language skills.
What do you call a machine that resembles a human and is able to replicate some human movements? Robot.
And that was it for our intensive. And I believe we have gone through 6 very different applications for articulation and phonology. If you have more questions or if you'd like to see these apps in more detail, you can always visit the Smarties website and take a look at the individual video tutorials for each one of these applications. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that this video helped you to identify which applications can be beneficial to you and your students.